If you are here because of the Netflix show The Queen's Gambit, then welcome. In this video, I will teach you how to play the Queen's Gambit quickly. Let's begin. So, what is the Queen's Gambit? White goes d4, moving the pawn 2 squares in front of the queen. Black does the same. Pawn to d5, and now white plays c4. This is the beginning of the Queen's Gambit. So, why is it called a gambit? Because black can take it. There are two main options. You take it, which is called the Queen's Gambit Accepted, or you play e6, which is called the Queen's Gambit Declined. Firstly, we're going to have a look at if black takes it. Now, you can play e3 or you can play e4. Let's go for e4, which is where you get the center. Now, black can react with e5, but if black plays e6, I'm going to show you a perfect setup for white. You take the pawn. So guess what? It's not even a gambit because you've got your pawn back already. White has a great position because you've got 2 pawns in the center. Let's say black gets the knight out. White does the same to defend the center. Bishop out, knight out, castle, castle, and if black plays maybe c6, get a pawn in the center, now you go bishop f4. So really, this is the perfect setup. You get 2 pawns in the center, which really control all these squares. 2 bishops here, 2 knights. White already has a fantastic position and is already move 8. Now after take, maybe black tries to hang on to the pawn, but now you can chip away at the structure. You go a4, just attack it. They can't go a6 because you take and then they lose the rook. If they go c6, you can go b3. You actually chip away at the structure in 2 different ways. If they take, now you can take. And if they take back, you can take with a check. The queen can even come in the game. Already, white has a great position, and it's only move 6. We are only 2 minutes in, and I've showed you 2 great positions for white. The Queen's Gambit is looking like a great opening. After they accept it, I'm going to show you another setup. Maybe you want to go e3 instead. Now this is another way to play. It's because all the pawns defend each other. It's a very safe way to play. And after knight f6, bishop c4. So you get your pawn back anyway. And then normal moves. Get your knight out, castle, get your other knight out as well. I want to show you this move because there's a very, very nice opening trap to be aware of. If they do the same thing with b5, let's chip away again, just like I showed you a minute ago. But if they go c6, because this setup looks good, all the pawns are defending each other. You can take, and there's an absolutely brilliant opening trap here, which is queen f3. You just play this move and the rook is already trapped. You're going to win the rook on the next move. It's only move 6. And I'm guessing we are, what, 3 minutes into the video? And I've showed you 3 great positions already. This is a wonderful opening trap and it's so sneaky. Let's go for another setup. What if they play e6? This is the Queen's Gambit Declined. If you take back. So you don't need to take at the moment. Let's go knight c3. Let's get our pieces out. So white is putting pressure in the center with a pawn and a knight. Black goes knight f6. So in the center, black is defending it with a pawn, a knight and a queen. Now we can get our knights out, our bishops out, our pawn, our castle. But one option I want to recommend is you take. And after take, you go bishop g5. Just pin the knight to the queen. It's a good move, stopping the knight moving. So black is ready to castle as well. Get the bishop out. e3. So we have this pawn chain. A very typical good pawn chain in the Queen's Gambit. All the pawns defend each other. Castle. And now, time to get our pieces out. Bishop d3, facing the h7 pawn. Bishop is very well placed on this square. c6, black defends his center. Good move. Knight f3. And let me explain each arrow. When you put the knight on this square, it can go into e5. Bishop faces the pawn, but you can also line it up with the queen. And now you can castle. This is a good setup. Another option is you might go knight e2. So then the knights defend each other. It's a totally different way to play. Maybe black goes rook e8, castle. And now you can build up your center. Maybe you go queen d2. and then you go f3, e4. This is a pawn break you can aim for in the Queen's Gambit, and it's up to you how you play. There is no right way to play. Maybe in one game you play knight f3, maybe in another game you put the knights here so then they defend each other. Let's say we go knight f3, maybe they go rook e8. You can go knight e5, and knight d7, you might even want to go f4. Very aggressive way to play. You put your knight in early, and then you defend it with 2 pawns. And then you can castle, get your queen out to f3. It's a very aggressive way to play. Try it, see what happens. Next setup I want to talk about. So we have this position again. If they take and after e4, if they are a good player, they might know this and play e5. They strike in the center. This is a good move. Now you don't want to take, because after take, you can't castle. Black can get his knight out to attack the pawn, bishop out, and black is already so fast. He can castle queenside with a check. That's the cool thing actually. You know your position isn't that good if your opponent can castle with a check, so you don't want to go for this. Going back a few moves here. Defend your center with knight f3. And after they take, now we go bishop c4. So now we are back to gambiting a pawn because we are pawn down, but what do we have? White has a knight out, a bishop out. White is ready to castle. White can even go e5 to attack. So for example, if this, castle, knight f6, an early knight move might not be best because you can hit it with e5. Rook e1 is next. Maybe queen b3, queen and bishop line up against the pawn. Let's go for another setup. d4, d5. After c4, what if they play something weird? Maybe they play e5. This is called the Albin-Counter Gambit. So you gambit, but they gambit as well. One cool way to play against this is to take. And black normally goes d4 just to get more space in the center. And one suggestion is I want you to go knight f3. Now if we go back here, you may be thinking, why not take? It's because it's actually the reverse to what we saw before. Do you remember a couple of minutes ago? Queen takes d8 check, take, and now it is actually black who is the one who can't castle. And white is much better here, because black's king is not as safe. Normally in this position, black goes d4, but now it's time to attack this pawn with knight f3. Attack it straight away, and after knight c6, one cool way to play is actually a3, so this is a very advanced setup. The point of this move is to stop bishop b4 check. And when this happens, you can actually go b4, b5 to attack the knight. This knight can actually come to d2, to b3 to take the pawn. So this is a very advanced way to play. I just want to show you why people actually go for this. Okay, this is a very, very sneaky trap, and people love to win games quickly. If you play a normal move like e3, white is already worse. Bishop b4 check. Now you might be saying, well, what's the big deal? You just go bishop d2. Take. That's the problem. Pin here, attack here. Well, hang on, you've just chucked a bishop. Take with check. You can't take because you lose your queen. And if you take, this is probably one of the coolest moves ever. One of the best moves I have ever seen in chess. You take, and guess what? You don't promote to a queen, you promote to a knight with check. Well, so what? You take. And now you win the queen. Bishop g4 check. This is one of the best opening traps I have ever seen, so I'm glad you watched this video, because now that you've seen it, you will not fall for this trap. So many people have lost due to this trap. The king moves out of the way and you lose your queen. Wow. So if we go back here, you can avoid all of this mess. Avoid all of this. Don't go e3, you just go knight f3. Now if they do the same thing, bishop b4 check, well, it doesn't matter, you can just block. There is no capture. You just block the check, take. White is better here. He's up a pawn, you've got a knight and a queen out. This is a very, very famous trick in the Albin-Counter Gambit. So that's about it. I hope you've learned a lot from watching this Queen's Gambit video. and I hope you can use the setups in your own games. Please let me know what opening you want to see in a future video. I've got lots of openings lined up, and depending on what I see in the comments, then these will be the openings I release in future videos. I plan to do more of these types of opening videos if players want to see it. Please give this video a like, because it really does help out the channel. Consider subscribing, and if you press the bell, that means you'll get notified each time I release a new video. If you guys want to stick around, I've got a couple of opening video suggestions over here. I've got one opening in the London. If you want to play another opening besides the Queen's Gambit, you might want to go for the London. So that's one video over here, and another openings video over here. Thanks for watching.